I'm ready to continue from where we stopped yesterday. And if you remember, I was talking about one of my clients' case, and she came up to me with a serious hemispheric disbalance. And basically, I covered only 2 meetings with her, right? 2 days with her, because during the first day we did brain profile. I'm sure, I hope, you know how brain profile looks like, because I didn't really show the template that Judith gives to everyone. So I decided that today I'll share screens again, and I'll just show you our classical like template that we normally use for making notes for the brain profile. Can you see it now? It's a Adobe like PDF file. Yeah. So just a reminder for those who may be confused or for those who never seen this form. So that's what I was doing during the first day. This is an empty template that we fill in with the information about the customer. And then we put our drawings for different sections, and that's what we do. It was conversation, stress, empathy, math, eyes closed, math, eyes closed. And if you remember, I mentioned that I splitted brain profile into 2 sessions for easier analysis. It's just my personal preference to have 2 separate files so I don't have to mess up with segments. But now it can be done in one, and then you just create segments and analyze segments. So then mind clearing, music and relaxation, colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, visualization, and here are some notes that you may put afterwards. So this is one of the old templates that I was also using, but again, I decided to put all my comments and all my statistics into Word file and into Excel file, because my drawings, they're not that perfect. My handwriting is not that perfect, so I better put it down in printed letters so I can understand what it was all about later. Okay, so I'll proceed from here. I'll just show what I did again. We have, yeah, that's how I analyzed it. So I pulled the data from the listers into Excel. Mainly, we look at this Mind Mirror summary report that these days will come up with one extra report. So I used it a while ago, so I just used very, very basic, looking at the average pattern for the session and looking at what we usually use, the level, training level for self-trainers, but I use it as a just reference for how we progress with the client, these percentages, at what level we have awakened mind or evolved mind over 70%. So that was what my reference was. And then I pulled out another report, which is statistical report for the left and right hemisphere. And I pulled beta, alpha, theta, delta amplitude and dominant frequency for left and right hemisphere. And then I checked my notes once again, and to see the disbalance, there was no guidance anywhere, so I just compared the mean numbers. And usually if I see that they are over 1 or approaching 1, it's not a good sign. It means there is disbalance, and yeah, visually it's always, you know, the picture is speaking louder than the numbers, really. You get the message straight away. But to help you understand the difference, as soon as we started balancing, you will see when we got very balanced shape in the end of the next meeting of me and my client, after we did all these nice brain activation exercises, balancing exercises, we can see that there was big shift to the right, and then we finished doing animal sensualization meditation, and here we can see perfectly balanced pattern, and you can see that the difference between left and right hemisphere, between the categories, between the amplitudes, and again I'm looking at mean, they'll be very close to 0. So they are approaching 0, and that's a good sign. That means we are reaching the balance. And another type of report that I was using is, again, it's a statistical report or chart. I use dominant frequency mainly to look for these black stripes. And whenever you see black stripes, that's usually when the client shows nice pattern, like approaching evolved mind pattern, which means across all brainwave categories, the energy is flowing freely. And later, for example, I'll just jump a few sessions forward, you will see. So I was about to point out what I use dominant frequency reports for. And as you can see, for example, in this report, you can see lots of black stripes, right? These dark areas. So this will be the parts of our meditation where the client did most of the work, or she experienced really nice states. And we'll talk about this particular meditation in more detail today later. This was a quick reminder of where we stopped yesterday, and I will continue. All my records, comments are in Word file. I go back, and now we had, I called it session 3 because I called brain profile like a 0 session. So it was our third meeting with the same client, and I suggested her to learn techniques to reduce stress and open alpha. And for that purpose, I decided to do beta mastery exercises. And I find that some people really are good at it, and they like exercises, I mean, in the same way they like meditating, because these exercises actually give them tools to perform better during meditations. And again, if you paid attention, my kind of program for each meeting was doing some exercises in the first half of the meeting or session with the client, and then do meditation in the end. So I always did some exercises as part of warming up or introducing new tools. So this time we were talking about beta mastery, and TAN relaxation is one of the most popular and well known by everyone. So the comment was, TAN immediately stopped thought flow. And later she commented, it was like a wow when you see something beautiful and unusual. So apparently when we say, I don't know, you visit some exhibition and see some beautiful piece of art, we kind of naturally stop our thought flow. And some people even say that beautiful art and masterpieces, they really connect you to the God. Call it God or call it theta. Maybe that's what happens. We just stop thinking. We are so impressed that we stop thinking. And then again, when you do this exercise, if you remember, all these exercises are you can find in Anna Weiss's book. And in the end, you ask a person not just to relax, but start thinking. And when I asked to think in the end, of course, tongue muscles tightened up, and she could feel that herself. So breath is another important tool. It took her into awakened mind. Great effect too. Then we were imagining the balloons. And not so many balloons were used, as not many thoughts left. More like thoughts about thoughts, that you have to send balloons out. This is quite common too, you know how our mind is tricking us. Clouds worked well too, showing awakened mind to diamond pattern. Again, I hope you remember diamond pattern. I call this kind of transition pattern in between awakened mind and evolved mind pattern. When all the bottlenecks of awakened mind start opening, you see this diamond shape. Then we were burning emotions. We made 2 attempts. She wasn't quite ready to come up with emotion to think about from the first time. So the second time, it really worked well. And apparently just naming the emotion, in her case it was frustration, she felt much better. So in patterns on the screen, it was reflected by awakened mind and wide open delta, getting to evolved mind by, half evolved mind by rounding the bottom. And then we were filing creative thoughts, and it was again the same story, awakened mind with delta rounding up to evolved mind. During that session we did relaxation plus house of doors. So really I combined 2 meditations into one, 2 separate exercises into one, because I thought after we learned all these beta mastery tools, it would be a good idea to try them straight away, see how they work during relaxation meditation. And anyway, we need a good and long, proper relaxation before going deeper into theta meditation, like, the House of Doors. So I personally consider House of Doors as being like the first, for non-meditators especially, it's the first attempt of going into your subconscious, first attempt of going and exploring what you buried there, what's going on, how easy you can enter that space, that place. In my personal story, that's exactly where I started. These were the exercises. These beta mastery exercises were introduced to me during transpersonal workshop I did in Moscow. And then on the same day, we also did the relaxation and House of Doors. And it was my first introduction to Anna Weiss's work. And at that time, I wasn't meditator. I never really meditated. So House of Doors, you can say, was my really first deep meditative experience. And I personally at that time was surprised how great it is to find that inside your mind you suddenly see rooms and something is going on there, and you don't really have to think too much. It shows up in front of your eyes, and there is a whole world there, and really it's very interesting to analyze the imagery that your subconscious produced, because certain things were surprising to me, and I thought, why I saw this, why I saw some monk's cell in the left room, and why I saw like old-fashioned Russian wooden house in the right room, and what it all meant. So here, what happened during House of Doors for her? First relaxation, she quickly got into awakened mind with beautiful open alpha. Amplitude dropped when she was asked to get inside the room. So very common when you kind of go into smaller spaces or inside yourself, you may drop the amplitude, so the brain will be less loud. And presumably I thought it also may indicate stress reduction and quietening of the mind. So she showed diamond pattern when asked to get into her body, and awakened mind started rounding into evolved mind when asked to find and rest in its center, as well as filing the key for that center of peace and silence, and where you can go back afterwards. And apparently I was carrying my landmark from those meditations up to these days. And when we did the training with Judith recently, I realized that I even forgot my very first landmark for this place of stillness and peace and silence. And I kind of refound or reconnected with that space again, and it's quite powerful for me. So House of Doors itself, what happened during the meditation, she interchangeably shown awakened mind, channeling pattern. I mean, we call channeling pattern, it's a pattern where theta and delta become bigger than alpha. So it looks like a skirt, really, when you look at it. And some people may be asleep when you see this pattern, but some people may be awake. There is lots of work happening in kind of lower frequency brainwaves. As I said, theta and delta open up really big as a skirt. And then awakened mind with open delta, especially in moments when asked to do changes in the environment, in the rooms, exploring, meditating on experience. So you remember, I again explained to myself Delta as connecting to the cosmic internet and looking for answers there, looking for something that you haven't kind of, you don't have inside of your memory bank, so you have to go beyond your individual personal memory storage libraries. You have to connect with cosmic internet and find the right solutions there. So that's not surprising when you do changes, when you learn, you open your delta. So again, these were very nice patterns. It was awakened mind, rounding into diamond pattern, or partially evolved mind, rounding up bottom. So when you find your information, you kind of pull it up to process and integrate. And that's what we see as rounding up bottom for evolved mind pattern. So again, my comment is, especially when finished with changes in environment and rooms, seeing herself in the mind mirror room on the way back, as well as drawing the keys up for meditation in the end. So interesting fact was that this time she was also hooked up to blood volume pulse, and it went up when she was doing changes in the room. So general comments, great patterns revealed, presumably triggered by previous discussions, because we, if I'm not mistaken, we talked about sacred geometry. I won't go far talking about this, but it's I worked in the gallery which sold these beautiful geometrical shapes, and we talked a lot on that. So she produced beautiful imagery with very interesting symbolic meaning, especially for the left and right room, and clearly pointing on male-female nature. So usually, not usually, but again, that's how I experience this meditation. And like left very often is more like your masculine aspect, and right is more your feminine aspect. Let's see what she produced, her imagery, and then go to dynamics, kind of to go to numbers. So these are client comments. When outside your house, it was very peaceful. It felt very contained and blending into surrounding. The energies in the room around us were very peaceful as well. When I entered the body, here we are again. So after her home task I gave her in the very first meeting, apparently she was used to going inside and feeling herself from inside and do body scanning. So she went into the body and stayed there. There was a thread around and bubble. I was in there. It was like a cocoon. It's like being in a nut. The outside shell kept. Through that you can't intrude. Everything was cushioned. Nothing really mattered or given attention to. So that's her key to the place of peace as circle, cut in sectors, all in equal parts to spin, smooth balanced, rainbow colors in the lines changing. The circle was empty, just the lines. Unusual, but imagination and subconscious may produce all kinds of strange imagery. Environment, when you do House of Doors meditation, if you remember, you have to find yourself in the in some environment. So she was imagining the falls and creek which are nearby in the place where I live. So it was nice warm walk. House was to the right of the beach, green trees. It was sandy beach, clear water, blue sky, rich rocks of different colors, different slopes. Beach was harsh, hidden. I cleared rocks not to lie on hard. Did few changes. So reflection in the mirror room. She saw herself exactly as she looks in the mirror right now at that time. So in the left room there was blue door with number 4 and star super impressed on it. So later she commented that 4 is something like another level to her. Star very delicately hangs there, very subtle, and it can sparkle in geometric way. Moreover, she found boxes, junk, and sheets over it, so ignored, totally disregarded clutter in that room. So what she did, she decided to do some cleaning up. So she took sheets off, and there was her teddy bear, some treasures, lots of things, books, stuff. So she sorted things out. Boxes, rubbish went away. What was left was only gold, and it was placed on shelving. I cleaned everything and made it into pristine feng shui kind of place. The message was, don't bury good stuff, appreciate the things that happened, absorb the essence of existence of lovely things. They are not things to be disregarded. Explore them. So I think it was a great message for her, especially for the first downsending into subconscious. And then the right room was red door with banana and sun drawn on it. Later she commented, I love bananas and made banana muffins yesterday. Golden sun was symbolic of getting light happening, letting it into every pore and all of the body. Sun opens you up, lights the light. Star connects you. It's the structure to be able to hold the sun, to keep it there, keep the opening. So this room was different. It was overgrown with plants, out of windows, all over fireplace, creeping, choking the room. It was lush but out of control. So she tied it all up. They were pot plants, so she placed them in a place to look at. So it was nice, relaxing, not to be a mess. Energy of the plants was very nourishing. And she said, I can feel it strongly right now. So when she went outside, she learned that it was about herbs, and using them, especially mint for congestion, for blockage, could help her. So when she was going back through the mirror room, she couldn't see much of herself. It was light and just energy. So that was her experience with the House of Doors meditation. And what about patterns? So my comments were, it was, again, great dynamics for awakened mind on level 5. So she increased her statistics from 83% to 95%. And evolved mind was still stable on level 6. All means for alpha, theta, and delta slowly but gradually increasing. Hemispheric disbalance didn't come back, so it was close to 0. And interestingly, this balance, some insignificant one, but with minor dominance to the right, was revealed during this meditation. And now I'll go back to my statistics file just to show how it looked like. So again, here you will see, at first, that's what her progress, or how her pattern looked like during the exercises that we did, Beta Mastery. And you can see she was awakened mind, level 5, 84%, right? And now when we did House of Doors meditation, she improved, and it was already 95% at level 5. So you can see, apparently we went more often into awakened mind pattern, and all this, as I say, warming up exercises or preparation exercises, they're always good to start with. So you can see the nice balanced pattern for the House of Doors meditation, and slight disbalance to the right. I mean, I can't see it with my eyes, but apparently it showed up there at some stage. Okay, so I'll continue because the next one will be much more exciting. The next one was about, again, I decided to do concentration exercises with her in the start of the next session, and then continue with theta meditation, inner child healing, because I thought if your request was about creativity, we need to find out some blocks and see what might be blocking her, and if she blames her mother and 9th generation backwards, so it might, something to do with her childhood. So it's just an assumption. And in general, I can say that for most of people it works quite well. It's very deep and healing meditation. Not easy though to everyone. I won't focus on these exercises too much. I'll just go straight to inner child healing and say that it was another breakthrough for her. The patterns were great, mostly awakened mind pattern. Again, delta opening at times, revealing half evolved mind states. Remarkably stable events. If you remember, I showed you these black striped areas. You can see them here. If you can see my Excel file, you will see these darker areas. So these were remarkably strong events, especially this one in the very center. In my records, I put it as like it's about 13 minutes, 13:53 in my notes. It was for child holding. I'm not sure you remember by heart the idea of inner child healing, but yes, you go down into your subconscious, you connect with your inner child, and you do the healing. Really, it's important to restore the connection and make the child feel good and welcomed and accepted and loved. And so child holding was a healing kind of part of the meditation for her, the major breakthrough. And then another important stable event, it says after 18 minutes. Again, when I say in my notes, in my drawings, I'll show you how I depicted it in my drawings. So it was another important event for deep healing. And then after 25 minutes, again in my drawings, for seeing the child happy. And it's not just in my drawings, it's also in Excel dominant frequency report, as I showed you. So I'll quickly open my drawings so you get an idea. So I said holding. You see, I have the timing 13:53, and I draw this kind of, you see first a nice pattern with rounding up bottoms and some delta showing up. And I pointed out that 7.5 was important. So I double checked yesterday, and I can tell you that what I meant by that, it was that we say that healing happens around this frequency 7.5. So I could see theta merging with alpha. So really the central part of the pattern was approaching evolved mind. So they were merging a lot, and there was a lot of work happening in theta. So it wasn't just, modest and contained as an awakened mind. It was really big, and there was lots of merging of theta and alpha. So here healing continued, and it was around 18 minutes. That's what also was reflected in records and in dominant frequency report. And then seeing the child happy, of course, you can see also nice pattern here. So going back to statistics, here we can see all the same timings. I put markers in place, and this was holding the child. You can see this dark area and the trend going down. So it was a deep, profound state. Then there was 18 minutes, it's about here. So another dark area where a lot of work was done. And again, you see the trend line going down. So deepening the state. Yes, lots of work done in theta and delta in lower frequencies. And then the last bit here, it was seeing the child happy. So it was the very end of that meditation. And you can also see the trend line going down in this dark area, dark striped area. So from statistics point of view, we can see again that she stayed on the same level 5 for awakened mind at 94. The best result was 95. And it was for previous meditation. And really 1%, I don't see it even as a difference. It's it's good and high. And level 6 for evolved mind. And you could also see growing alpha theta ratio from 1 during brain profile to 2.2. So I thought it's another great indicator showing that there was lots of work done. And as I pointed out before, yes, while healing was happening, there was a lot of this merging of alpha and theta around 7.2 hertz and low, merging these categories. So going back to statistics, yes, that's where I took the numbers. It was Awakened Mind 94 level 5. And then we can go back. The best result was 95 at level 5 during House of Doors during the previous session. So I hope Zoom is fast enough to follow me, my clicks through different pages. And yes, again, you can see it's nicely balanced shape, and dominant frequency confirms what I was watching during the meditation, and even points out the most stable and deep profound events for the meditation. So now let's go back to records and read about her inner experiences, how she described it. So down, beautiful green color light. I got down. Child was in a dark cave. I was sensing her first. She was cold, frozen as a rock, very still, depleted, lonely, isolated. It was rock pool in front of her. It was sitting, staring into it. When I touched her, she lit up a bit. I got her to stand up. She had heaviness on the back. I got water from the pool and splashed over her. Oh, someone is here, she said, and she dropped heaviness and had light. She jumped into the water, diving, revealing more light, and then she was flying around like Peter Pan. I want to be more part of what you do, she said. She superimposed herself and started getting as big as me. I want to become more of what goes on in your psyche. I want you to be more conscious about me and experience what you are experiencing so that I can grow. And future, I saw us as both. I saw energy forms. We were in sync and have become one whole. No differences except to contribute in love. And the words and keys for this meditation were happy, free, independent, safe. It's her as a part of me. Message: she is not left over anymore. She is more in. I feel fresher for new ideas, for creativity. So I think it was very lovely experience. And from what I remember as well, while she was holding the child, that holding experience, it's part of the meditation, she even had some tears on her face. So it really, really was touching and deep and, melting for her, and healing for her as well, as we will see later in our work. So I'll move on, and now we're talking about next session. And next one was about revision of table of subjective landmarks, with close attention to each of the stages, differences of alpha and theta imagery. I thought that table of subjective landmarks really needs good introduction, maybe just from the very start, because it gives people the idea of what's going on, or how you can progress, or how you go through one state to another. So that, that it's normal to be jumping from one stage to another. It's normal to have some remaining thoughts and settling down for a while. And it's really good also to let them know that if we go deeper, for example, if we do House of Doors after animal sensualization, the imagery or sensualization in general in House of Doors may be more like vague. It won't be as clear as in animal meditation, so that people don't get frustrated because the pictures were not as clear. But usually theta deeper experiences, yes, they come with deeper kind of inner knowledge and deeper insights, though the clarity may be less from the first sight. Then we did sensory awareness, creativity, access channel, internal, external visualization, concentration exercises, part 2, and alpha sensualization exercises. So the idea was check these concentration exercises because, again, for some people, they prefer to be focused on the inside. Some people prefer to be focused on the outside, or inside and outside diffused, not focused, because focused may create too much stress, or diffused may create too much stress. So we all have our own preferences and how we feel and how we react, and certain, like, to find your best starting point, knowing how to access the best state, I think is good for most of people to better be aware of themselves. And alpha sensualization, of course, it's, as I mentioned yesterday, it's a great thing to do to fish for landmarks. And since my client's request was, I want to better understand my patients' needs, other people's needs, so I could help them better. So I assume that to tune in your perception, tune and sharpen sensory channels, better understand what is your access channel, and find important landmarks would be a good exercise to do in general. So as a result, most of people, after doing this exercise, they will learn what is their dominant channel. And then, as was explained in Anna Weiss's book, it's also good for creative processes, because you can knowing your access channel, you start there, and then if you get blocks, you just start switching the channels and dance the music, draw the music. So there are ways how you can approach your creative project through different sensory channels. That's working on your creativity, improving your creativity. So access sense for her, rather visual than tactile. Then all the rest: auditory, gustatory, kinesthetic, olfactory. So internal visualization first, then she can add internal. I won't go through probably all the details here, but in general you can get the idea. So I always mark the timing and put down the keyword to make sure I keep track of most important landmarks. And I will show you my drawings, because, say, for example, here it says somewhere in between 7:30 and 8:11, landing airplane with a view over streets, cars, etc. So she opened beautiful diamond pattern, and I marked this in my drawings, as well as I found the confirmation that this is a powerful landmark in a dominant frequency report in statistics file. And there the timing is slightly different, of course, because I'm drawing and writing and reading, so there could be delays and slight changes, but still you can see it's the same period. Plus, then custom comments also confirmed that we found a powerful landmark. So I'll go to my pictures first. Here they are. And it was around landing airplane. Here. 7:38:11, so you can see the timing, and then landing airplane, and I put a star here and kind of made another not fly landmark. And then I checked it with the dominant frequency report, so again it will be around 8 minutes there. If we go to my statistics file here, so around 7. Yes, around after 7:40. So in this dark area again of the dominant frequency report, if you can see Excel file now, again this dark striped area confirms, oh, we found a strong landmark. And then I'll go back and read her comments. So her comments about airplanes were landing airplane, and there was another one, sound of jet taking off. I love to fly. I even took flying lessons. I mean, personally, I didn't expect a nurse, working in the hospital at the age of 58 to take some flying lessons and be a big fan of airplanes. But, I mean, all the evidence showed that, oh yes, this is a powerful landmark for her. And flying, you know, it's a great sensation and it's quite empowering, I guess, it's if you look at it broader. So some other maybe interesting, I'll just pick some interesting landmarks for her. As I mentioned last time, brush send of legs. Lots of people go deeper because they just pay attention, kind of, it takes their attention down to legs. So she showed partially evolved mind state. And beach is an important landmark. Jet taking off, another landmark associated with airplanes. Birds, party sounds, lavender and roses. Again, partially evolved mind state, and I say see customer comments, and of course she confirmed that she liked, yes, the roses and lavender, I love roses. And then cheese, beach again, and dancing. So literally you can just see many different signs of what is the landmark for the customer and then double check it with her. So this was our session where we were stable at level 5 for awakened mind, and the best result was, I think, a little bit more than that. There could be mistakes. So again, here is my statistics file, and yes, here we are at level 5 for awakened mind with 90%. And we remember that during previous session, in the child meditation, we had 94% at level 5, and then the best result was 95% at level 5 when we were doing House of Doors meditation. So you can see the dynamics. You can see we are still there. We're not losing it. And it was level 6 for evolved mind. And yes, if you pay attention at the pictures, you can see there was some gamma artifact, which gets clearly seen during concentration exercises, average part and the pattern. And here you can see also, so that may have affected certain statistics as well, not in her favor. Again, the shape is quite balanced, which is good. And then I pointed a few landmarks here, a few more landmarks, dark striped in dominant frequency while checking. So the next session we did with her was we talked about delta waves, because again, if you remember, when she came, she was quite sensitive, and I could see she responded with delta quite a lot, and I even kind of labeled her as a hypersensitive person. So I thought it would be nice to address delta as, again, her, and do bubble meditation so she could better feel her personal boundaries and personal content, and understand how she feels about other people in her bubble or outside of her bubble. She again showed great ability to quickly relax, produce alpha, sustain awakened mind to partially evolved mind state. She very clearly responded to commands of the meditation. She could drift down to theta and delta without any sign of falling asleep when focusing on personal consciousness bubble, when scanning, sensing, letting other people in, and when expanding, especially when expanding outwards with love. Dominant delta looks more sustainable when back in own consciousness bubble, though in this case the amplitude usually drops from 7-8 to 3-4, so almost by half. So you can say that when people go inside themselves into their consciousness bubble, you can expect this drop in amplitude. They kind of become more silent or less loud. And there were clear upward bends movements during meditating your experience phase. So it means she was kind of drawing the information in and integrating and processing this information. So here Again, she was stably on level 5 for awakened mind and level 6 for evolved mind. She shows great ability to produce awakened mind, sustain alpha, and go deeper. So she had quite a big, maximum delta amplitudes in this meditation, but the good thing is it was consciously managed delta. Okay, and she again had very interesting comments about her meditation. I'll go back to statistics file to show how it looked like. So here we have our report. So we are still at level 5 for awakened mind, level 6 for evolved mind. We show nice balanced pattern, and again now I can see some signs that maybe beta is a little bit shifted to the right. And then not much really to be seen here. I really loved her comments about this meditation. Here are her comments. When I mentioned that amplitude drops when she shrinks to her personal bubble, she said that it's exactly how she felt. It was as if she was disappearing. When I asked to invite someone she loved, she invited her spouse, with whom they have deep but not very easy relationship. She could see him live as full of rocks. That made her better understand why he behaves as he behaves. And she felt the relationship as a result less intense. She was surprised she has chosen him as choosing her granddaughter or cat would be much shorter ride to loving feeling. She felt different, people differently. Reading their energy essence, one woman felt as earthy, motherly, nurturing, kind, soft and round, and another one, her boss, was the opposite, airy, flighty, giggly, but also very sharp. So the learning from this meditation was it's all right to let people into space. Sometimes she feels like she wants to be friendly but needs separation so that she is not too entangled. So she can let them in when it feels safe. When she was young, she had walls and couldn't really connect. Today, compared to previous meditations, especially Anima one, so probably the one of House of Doors, and the previous one, the healing, I guess, of the inner child, also contributed to that because she felt more safe and independent, and that way when you feel more safe and secure, you easier open up and connect with others. So you have your inner child protected in a way. She felt more comfortable connecting. When expanded, she feels cheerful and happy. When contracted, shrunk in, but at the same time fully feeling herself. She doesn't have any analysis or judging as requested during this meditation. So that was our bubble experience, and then we move on to the very last session with her. So here it says session 8, again because I counted brain profile just as a 0 session. The closing down session with her was about reviewing personal transformation meditations, the ones which could help her to identify and work with the blocks in search of creative solutions. So we reviewed inner child healing meditation as the one we have already done. And I also pointed out that House of Doors can be transformed into the one where you look for the door related to the challenge at hand, as well as find solution door in the end of the corridor. So then we did exercise your game meditation. Again, if you remember what this meditation is about, it's, I think, great for really ending the work with the client, especially like my client, because her request was about creativity. And exercise your game is a meditation where you should be able to differentiate between different brainwave groups as you move through them. So as I put here, the goal was a way to feel once again different brainwaves, just one by one category by one, as well as learn to look for creative solutions inside. So at that stage, she worked on her art project that will bring her some cash flow when she retires. So she was thinking about humor cards, but she had no idea what they would be like, or who would be the target audience or the theme. So she wanted to look for some clarification for herself on this project. So, and in general, I can say that I was amazed to see that she showed great diligence and attention to my guidance and navigated through the brainwaves with ease. So, reducing beta, going into alpha, dropping everything in theta, and then see what happens and what answers will pop up, and take them back into conscious mind, process them, and understand them. So from a statistics point of view, she repeated the best result of hers, which was 95% and level 5. And she dropped a little bit in evolved mind, but that could be due to gamma artifact. And another surprising thing, her patterns were skewed to the right. So here we are. And we did 2 meditations on that day. Exercise Your Game will be here. And you can see that, yes, we did had the same 95% at level 5 for Awakened Mind. And yes, truly her pattern is now shifted to the right. Though it's much more balanced and rounded, it's really approximating Evolved Mind. So if you would like to compare that with the brain profile, you can see it's completely different picture now. So this is pattern with eyes closed from the brain profile. And you can see we have much more alpha. The last pattern really looks more as Evolved Mind, though skewed to the right. So we kind of reached another extreme. Going back to her comments, beta, verbalize, see the process, see the final product and what I need to put in it. Alpha, visualize, smelled the print, felt the cellophane, felt the feeling of project completion. I've done it. This is my thing going out the door to places around. Theta, plant a seed. Project lost form. I saw it as lumps of energy in dull colors. Losing it from its alpha, it was blended and mashed up, taking all what I thought were my ideas. Delta, it dropped in bits completely, disappeared, like a trapdoor opened in and I let it fly. I had feeling of theta and delta. I was welling up. When coming back, I saw 2 projects. Black and white to the left, reminded someone's work I saw once and liked, and colorful to the right. When in alpha, realized there is nothing wrong with having it in black and white, and it's not as in my original vision. I wanted more colors. Black and white was the project I was busy with. Colorful, I could do later. Black and white was more for corporate left brain dominant people, colored more for emotionally based creative people. When she was prompted to taste it, it's like lolly wrap. Saw the box product out of the door, black and white, the one she got packaged. The message meaning of black and white was, that's what there is a market for, and the colorful she wanted to do herself more. When prompted to associate or interpret black and white, it meant keep it simple. Richness of color and caption means overcomplication. Another important message was research, do more research. I kept on watching it bigger, more than human cards. So she saw tea towels, pencils, designs on anything, expanding it eventually. Have a bigger picture was another message, and that's what a key to my motivation is. So you can see quite interesting, again, meditation with some answers provided by subconscious there. And then I also want to add general customer comments that she kind of fed back to me as she showed up for this last session. Her general feedback was she started drawing again, so creativity is back. She felt more confident and assertive with her colleagues at work, and also mentioned improved relationships, romances back with her partner, with whom they had complicated relationship over the last 20 years or more. So she was very satisfied with the training, and it gave her better understanding and confidence in meditative practice, as well as it has contributed to her intuition and psyche abilities development. So these were great words to hear for me. Now in the very end, I'll share with you the Alpha Word Picture Meditation. It's this tailor-made meditation that I did especially for my client to help her organize and memorize the most powerful landmarks in one story. I didn't make any drawings, but from what I could see, she was again in awakened mind pattern, approximating evolved mind patterns. She was in a beautiful space. And there were a couple of learnings for myself, because during the session, one of the electrodes went off, and I had to restart meditation, which is kind of really very bad experience and practice. And another thing, it's important to read out loud written meditations before guiding during the session, because when you read, it's one thing, but when you have to speak it, it's another thing. And the wording sometimes should be adjusted for, if you are speaking, it should flow easily. So in general, meditation, I think, was a success, and she was in a nice space and came up with valuable insight. I'll go to the meditation and basically show you what I also did as a report. So it was my own initiative again. So I decided I would like to share with her some summary of what we've done together. So I would like to share with her her best scores, and I would like to share with her landmarks. So that's how I organized it. That's the file actually that I sent to her. For example, landmarks were organized. What are the best things to achieve relaxation? Relax your tongue, focus on your breath, especially exhaling. To get instant awakened mind pattern, in her case, color green was quite powerful. So any imagery or reference of green, color or nature scenes, grass, trees, park, countryside, any of those will cause quickly opening of the awakened mind pattern. Then going deeper, color blue, anything related to blue, like ocean, sky. Then legs, when you direct attention to your legs. Earth and rocks, also it gives her grounded confidence. If you remember her animal sensualization meditation, where she was Pegasus, and this earth and rocks gave her confidence and groundedness. Be careful is another thing, that phrase, very popular, that in most of people will let them open theta and delta. It's more like an instinct, survival or alertness instinct, danger instinct. And then to open evolved mind, circular pattern, the powerful landmarks for her were sun, golden, love, warmth. So any imagery or reference to these things, like golden color, sun, light, fire, bath, beach, love and social warmth also helped her open evolved mind. And any imagery related to socializing, acceptance, and love. So mate group, as was in animal meditation. Holding in a child, as in the child meditation. Smile, hug of a good friend, party. Flying or related imagery, the sensation of flying. So sky, clouds, unicorn, or really it was Pegasus from her animal meditation, and airplane, as I pointed out before. Then roses and lavender, flower and smell of these flowers, sensation of dancing. And then how she can also activate sensory channels through which symbols. So here is the meditation. I'm not sure we should do this meditation, but because it's tailor-made, and it's, again, it was alpha word. And why I chose to do it was not only to help Paula memorize all her landmarks in one story, but also it was simply the task for my practitioner certification, alpha word. So I thought, why not make these both tasks into one? And it's quite detailed. Anyway, I'll read through the meditation, and you can see that I marked the landmarks in bold, pointing out how I utilize them in one story. So I called it the reunion above the clouds. I suggest you close your eyes, and I'll read the meditation. I can't promise I'll take you too deep because it's alpha word. It's not quite, your tailor-made landmark meditation, but you may still feel something nice and experience something nice. So let's do it then. Take a comfortable position. Get ready, close your eyes and follow my voice. Focus on your breath. Take a few deep breaths. Breathing out all the tension, all the thoughts. Relax your tongue, your jaw, facial muscles, head muscles, and let the relaxation flow down your neck and back, all the way down your arms and legs, so that you find yourself fully in your body. And look for the place of peace, silence, and stillness inside. And from that place, we'll start our journey. Imagine yourself walking on a footpath in an open green field. Here and there you can spot purple flowers and pick the smell of lavender. The weather is good. You feel the warmth of the sun, a nice refreshing summer morning breeze on your skin. The breeze also brings salty ocean smells. You cannot see the ocean as the field goes as far as you can see, but you know it's somewhere not far away. In the distance, you spot an airplane, exactly the right size and model for someone like you. And it has a name on it. Read the name. It's brand new, shiny silver, shimmering in the sun and almost calling you to come in and try it. You cannot resist. You come closer. Read the name on it. Jump in and find yourself in a pilot seat. You can see all the buttons on the panel. You check the fuel indicator, and yes, you know you will do it. Next moment, you can hear the noise of the engine and prepare for takeoff. You see yourself running faster and faster, your body shaking from the uneven surface of the field ground, and you confidently take yourself off the ground, aiming up straight into the sunny blue sky. Reaching the bird's view height, you slow down to enjoy the views and sensation of the flight. Piloting is fun and easy. A great landscape lies underneath. Vast green valley, fields and hills, cows and small toy-like houses. And then you see a wide yellow sandy beach line, all beautifully lit by the sun. It's a very peaceful scene. And further away, you see that your actual course is taking you to the ocean, sparkling in the sun and merging with the blue sky in the horizon. Blue ocean surface underneath, vast deep blue sky above, and almost blinding golden white sunlight permeates every single molecule of the air. You aim for the horizon. You enjoy this sensation of joy, fun, freedom, and lightness. You spot beautifully shaped fluffy white clouds gathered in the distance, and you already know that you want to go higher and see them from above. As your plane goes higher and higher, you experience this exciting exhilaration of weightlessness, reminding you the childhood sensation on a swing. You see yourself inside a cloud. White fog wraps you from all sides. It feels nice, as if you could feel it with your own skin, like white bath foam gently covering you. You feel very warm, cozy, and comfortable. At the same time, you feel cared for and very loved. And you also anticipate adventure and a meeting with old good friends. The next moment, as soon as you come out of the cloud, you realize that you are magically not in the airplane anymore, no leather seats and tight belts. It's you who are light, free, and floating easily in the air. To check what happened with your body, you look down and you see the hooves and long-drawn horse-like legs. Instead of your arms, you clearly have the sensation of very strong open wings. Now you are a beautiful white Pegasus and you can fly. You feel strong, but at the same time very flexible and light in the body. You feel great. You feel your power. You know there are no horizons left that you cannot reach. And you feel like dancing. And suddenly you feel the sounds of the party. And of course, that was the true destination point, the party of your friends. Friends who are old and forgotten, but at the same time so dear and familiar. You can't see them yet, but you know they're waiting for you there. It's your party. They must be behind that pinky purple cloud, and you are determined to get there. So find yourself with purple and pink all around you. Oh, it's a love cloud. It smells of roses and feels like you are swimming through the silky roses petal pool. Feeling cleansed and refreshed, you come out and see your old beloved friends. They are not quite ordinary friends. They are fairy friends. Some with hooves and wings, some with tails, all different. And even if they look normal, they all have their magic gifts. All very kind and friendly, always eager to play, share their joy, and help you in whatever you might need. You may realize that they invisibly have been with you all these years, patiently waiting for this reunion to take place. Take your time to greet and reconnect with your friends. Exchange warm hugs with them and ask them to remind you of their story and what role they play in your life. You may also wish to share your plans with them, next steps in your creative project, or plans for your dream sanctuary or your healing space. So take a few minutes on your own to experience your reconnection with friends. And now get ready to go back. Thank you everyone who showed up, greeted you, and shared with you their love and wisdom. Feel how great it is to have such friends, and know that you can always come back here and call for their help anytime you may need their company. Remember, the magic airplane will always be waiting for you there in the lavender field with a full tank. So now exit through the pinky purple cloud again and find the cloud nearby where you can quietly sit and meditate on what they said and what this experience may mean to you. Think of a symbol, image, feeling, or word that will help you to remember their messages and this valuable experience. And when you're ready, find yourself inside your body again. Take a few rapid breaths, make a couple of stretches, and open your eyes. So I hope you're back and ready, and I can read what were her comments after this meditation. So that's what she said. I didn't realize that social connections were so important for me. I remember myself having problems socializing when I was young. I'm better now, but I always felt lack of confidence or lack of acceptance. This meditation was good as friends whom I met were fully accepting me. And I met there one skinny man in a black suit apologizing and telling me something like, I'm sorry that I was unable to communicate on that level with you before. It felt good. I felt I can communicate and connect now on a very deep level. And the name of the airplane was Flight Might. So it was more like a story than a real meditation with lots of details in it. But it worked because, again, can show you how I employed all the landmarks. I can just, here I'm back to this meditation, and I'll scroll through the text and you'll see that all the words in bold, they are her landmarks that I put into one meditation, her individual landmark. There were quite a few of them. And then again, this was part of the report, so I summarized all the landmarks, I put them into one story, and then I also copied the Mind Mirror session report, so like average pattern for the session, for all the meditations that we did together, including the best pattern from my point of view. So this was Maid Group from the Animal Sensualization Meditation. You can see how rounded it is and how nice looking. And I also copied her own comments so that she remembers better her experience. So these were basically comments to all meditations that we did together. Animal Sensualization, House of Doors with the average partner and her comments. Then Inner Child Healing and her comments. The Bubble and her comments. And then Exercise Your Game and her comments. And this is the last one, alpha word picture. And again, surprisingly, we are now at another extreme. we shifted completely to the right, but again, we see beautiful alpha. We see like almost evolved mind pattern, but strongly shifted to the right. And to me, of greatest value, of course, are my client's comments when she said she basically told about her progress, that her creativity is back, she's drawing again, she's thinking of creative projects, her relationships improved, she feels more tuned in, more confidence in meditation, in her intuition, in her psyche abilities, which sounds great. And in the end of my big records file in Word, you can see I put summary table, which gives me a clear picture of how we progressed or where we were. So here I named the sessions and say if it was just one meeting but two kind of parts to it, like I always did exercises in the beginning and then meditation in the end. So you can see how we progressed, and you can see, yes, alpha tailored word meditation showed the biggest score for awakened mind throughout the whole training. It was level 5, 97%. Can't judge for evolved mind because apparently there was gamma artifact. And then, yes, where we started with like really big, very small alpha and big numbers, big distortion in beta, theta, delta to the left. So we ended up with much smaller distortions to the right. And then, in general, I think this is a great way to kind of like very quick statistics and progress table for her. I wanted to show a couple of other things, but if you want to say something at this stage, you're very welcome. I just wanted to show you the power of landmarks from another case, another client of mine, because we also did, let me just show it first. What we did, I'll go to similar statistics file, and we did alpha sensualization exercises during one of the sessions. And you can see she showed very nice pattern while we were doing it. And she was on level 6 for awakened mind at 68%, almost 70. So in between 7 6 really will be 70% that I use as a kind of threshold. So, and then the next session, I decided instead of doing some exercises, why not? I'll just repeat the best landmarks that I picked from this alpha sensualization exercise for her and see what happens. And truly, you can see that we were, as I said, 68 at level 6, and we were 91 at level 6 and 84 at level 5. So if we look again at 70% at the threshold, so we changed almost 1 or 2 levels up. We jumped. And it was a great result. And then not only this proved to me that landmarks, power of landmarks is great, because you can see this significant jump in training levels, but then after this warm up with landmarks, we did House of Doors meditation with her, where she performed as at level 5 at 99%. So she even improved further. So I consider this as a great evidence which shows that yes, landmarks are important and they do work. And yes, you can see this is the same summary table for another client, that yes, after doing this warm up, we improved and she got her best score ever for awakened mind, 99% at level 5, which I consider incredible. And then another, like a quick comment, because we are talking not just about landmarks, but also about reporting. I wanted to mention the report from another client of mine and how I approached it. So this was an unusual session because it wasn't quite typical session for, you know, what you would do for awakened mind training. I was asked to test theta lights. So a friend of mine who was my client, he had a friend with lights, and lights were programmed to stimulate theta brainwaves. But how would you test? How would you know what they really do without the device like a mind mirror? So that's why I was invited to try and test what would happen during the session when David was experiencing this theta lights. So in the end, I put this small report in just its free format, really, but just to show you how I approached it and what I saw, and how I organized my report, analyzed it. So David was lying on the floor, again, not typical, we're usually sitting. It took about 2 minutes to settle and start. And most important notes are below. General comment: David started in awakened mind pattern, then warming up his theta more and more, growing their amplitude, ending with interchanging diamond pattern and half evolved mind, rounded bottom pattern. There was a moment when he was drifting into sleep around 12:20. These were my comments that I picked from my drawings. So we started almost immediate awakened mind, dropping down. Again, I saw that from dominant frequency report. There will be down peak, and then theta getting bigger, and then theta shooting again, significant drop down, another theta peak. So this is dominant frequency. And you can see how he was going down. So we kind of reached the first peak, then the second peak, and then the last peak. So you can see how we were going down, but this is dominant frequency. It just shows the deepening. If we look at theta amplitude, and I thought, okay, we are talking theta, so I should look at theta amplitude apparently and the trend line. So you will see that the peaks in theta amplitude will be kind of correlating with the peaks, with the drop downs in dominant frequency. Yes, because we are dropping down. And theta amplitude, when theta amplitude is raised, we are going deeper. So in general, my observation was that we go kind of in 3 waves. So we got our first wave here, then we go a little bit down, and then second wave, so we kind of reach the next height. I mean, it's minor difference, but still, let's remember, this is a trend line, and this is deep theta. So, and then we go a little bit back, roll a little bit back, and then we go up again, and that's the maximum kind of theta amplitude that we reach through the session. So I'll read my comments, how I put it. So again, my focus was mainly looking at beta peaks, lowest points in dominant frequency and highest in theta amplitude report. That's what I just mentioned. So theta evolving in waves, going up 4 minutes 10, rolling back, then taking a new height at 6:33 and rolling back, and then taking the highest theta amplitude at 15:24 and rolling back again. So 15:24 clearly stands out in my drawing notes, as well as dominant frequency report and theta amplitude report, as the best theta result. The most important result is that this meditation showed the best statistics for evolved mind pattern, which for him was 77 at level 6 versus 68 that he showed before during one of his self-guided meditations. So awakened mind pattern remained on the same high level, at the level of 5. This meditation also showed the highest maximum theta out of 8 previous sessions. 21 for left hemisphere and 19 for both hemispheres, if you look at it this way. So I'll just drop quickly to the summary table, and it will speak louder than anything else. So here you can see that was his best result for awakened mind, but when we are talking theta, I guess when we increase theta, we are going further, we are going into evolved mind. So literally this was his best result out of like 8 previous exercises or meditations that we did together with him. So we had some prehistory, and I could say, yes, apparently it does work. And then when I was looking at maximum theta amplitude numbers, you can also see that I can't see 21 anywhere else here before. So it was 21, 16 or 19 on average, which was the highest score clearly for theta amplitude throughout all the sessions. So that was just another example of what you can do and how you can compare things. And again, I put it in a simple table. Yeah.
How about the pictures? Where are the pictures?
Pictures, you want the pattern itself.
Exactly.
The pattern is in another Excel file. I just didn't put the pattern in here. I think it was quite small amplitude, and the average didn't show much. That's why I didn't include it in the case. But it's there will be a picture for that. That was the picture. I'm not sure the amplitude that I chose was the impressive one. So it was mainly awakened mind with, I think I just should have chosen like 5 or 4 to make it bigger, because otherwise it just looks too narrow to me. So that's what it was. But again, for him, you can see I have the same Excel file with all the tabs and progress and where we were, and so it's kind of...
Well, guess what? Those theta lights work, and they probably would work to help people fall asleep too.
I think so. I agree with you. Because he was drifting into sleep at some stage, and I pointed that out too. And I mean, it's like we talked about it afterwards, all 3 of us, my client and his friend, and with the lights, and we were like, it's not quite that simple and straightforward or unambiguous what these lights do to you, because I think at least with theta you can fall asleep and it wouldn't do too much. If you are already meditating, if you already know how to enter your theta, you dealt with your subconscious, and I say, all the ghosts in the wardrobes are well familiar, but what if something shows up and you can't cope with it, right? So just the person who does the lights, nothing extra. And
well, Oxana, but it would help a lot of insomniacs. Tell me something. What are these lights? What exactly do they look like? Are they available? Are they commercially available? Is he doing anything with the lights, or is this some private project?
It's not his commercial project. It's his friend who just bought these lights already pre-programmed. So it's I don't know. It's just like, you put camera on a special stand and it just flashes lights, that's all. And you need to ensure that he's kind of either the curtains are down or he's covered with a little blanket, and he's not distracted. So he'll, even with eyes closed, he will see the influence of the lights.
They're actually available. They're putting them into glasses that you wear at night to fall asleep. Okay, so yeah, this is out there, but it's nice that the mind mirror can show you if these things are doing anything and if there are changes. So it can be used as sort of, if you will, a diagnostic or a descriptive vehicle tool to show you what's going on. That fascinates me. I mean, yeah, all right, it's not maybe an awakened mind or an evolved mind, but by heavens, it's doing something.
No, it does increase. You can see it did increase his theta amplitudes to maximum, right? And you can see the kind of the waves, how it works. So in waves, theta amplitude was rising, and his general dominant frequency was deepening because of this theta rising. And I
And
thought,
that was
okay,
the question he was asking, right? That was the question.
yeah,
Isn't
that
doing
was the
anything to
question.
fix
If it does anything, can we see really what's going on? And she also, his friend had gamma programs, some other programs, and I was just wondering if it will cause headache or just drive you insane, because it's quite intense. Seriously, these lights are quite intense.
Well, somebody who's prone to epilepsy shouldn't be looking at those lights, but
So, I mean, you can experiment with your consciousness, but with care. And really, I'm the one, I prefer where, you know, the client takes the power and responsibility and is in charge of
sure.
when he goes to the state, what he wants from the state, you know, works with the content, have someone else like, you know, practitioner helping him to integrate, or just stop in time, you know, don't go if you're not ready, don't be overwhelmed, or you have someone, you know, supportive, someone who is ready to listen, whatever experience you go through, you know, you are safe, you're in someone else's company, and it feels, it's another whole story.
Well, sure, no, but we're entering a whole era of natural scientists, if you will. People are actually experimenting with a lot of these technologies themselves, and they don't feel they need a guru or a master or a coach or even a psychotherapist. I mean, we're moving into other areas, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm just saying that the field is broadening, and I think we need to start broadening also in how we look at these, you know, and the whole idea of, you know, you're either in a certain domain with a coach or a therapist, or, you know, you can't do it. Yes, you can do it, and people are doing it. That is the reality of the world we're living in, and especially with these tools that are commercially available. People are becoming their own scientists and learning what works for them, and how to maximize it for them and how to optimize it for themselves. So I think we need to be open to that as well. And I think that the mind mirror can really have a role to play in all of that. But I certainly agree with you. You can get yourself into, you know, really hot water, especially if you start, you know, zapping yourself with various frequencies. Nonetheless, to be open to that as a possible application, all right, which really could be quite powerful. And especially if we don't have to use the gel anymore, and we can do something with frontal placements instead of back placements, so that people can apply these electrodes easily themselves, as well as take a look at what's going on the mind mirror. And if it ever runs on a telephone, I mean, on a smartphone, that'll be a whole breakthrough in and of itself.
I'm sure we're close.
I
We're
know you may not have a
close to that.
Oxana,
but
I have a question about your first client there, and I was wondering if she reported any insomnia, depression, anxiety when she first came in, or was
No.
was she taking any medication, or was she self-medicating in any way?
Nothing that serious, at least, because I can go back to the beginning and just, you know, read again what she told me, because I just made notes, you know, after her.
Okay.
But again, you never know how much people are aware of what's going on with themselves. You know, are they capable of self-diagnosing the depression, or I didn't see any signs of depression in her, really. She was more like felt disbalance in her body.
Yeah.
And
it would have been mild. She might have been feeling more anxious, maybe overthinking or worrying a lot, kind of a lot of monkey mind going on. The thing is, I was looking at the theta beta ratios, and in the 0102 readouts, which is, you know, where we read from, and her ratios indicated that she may have had some underlying anxiety or you know, issues along those lines, insomnia possibly. in the background, and that, you know, your work with her may have helped resolve that by the end, and she may not have thought it was enough to even mention it to you when she came in. It may have been so normal.
I mean, how I, you know, I can only tune in and kind of just see if what she says kind of resonates inside of me as, you know, as truth. And yeah, I could pick that she's very gentle and very sensitive personality, which she really was kind of struggling to, you know, hold her space, hold her presence, including like literally in her body. You know, she was just caught up in the mind, very judgmental, very critical to herself. You know, she said, I can't draw because I'll create a mess. I have this voice saying, you'll create the mess. But it's a creative process. It's okay to be in mess for a while you're working on creative thing. It's kind of, she had all these things, and then getting back into her body, she was practicing that very first meditation with body scanning quite a lot, and she said getting back into my body was, I felt good. Here we are again, here I am, you know, I'm here, kind of asserting herself more, I'm present. Then finding the place of peace is another important thing. Peace and stillness. I can hold my space, I can be there. And I think it's not just relaxation meditation. All these concentration exercises, they also help you to kind of find yourself, how you feel yourself, how you feel internally, externally, how you interact. Bubble meditation does the same, helps you to feel, is it okay to let people in or not? And she was always protective, defending herself. And again, it's who is protecting and defending. It's her vulnerable inner child, who, if she feels accepted and fully there and, you know, better integrated, of course that would help her to express herself more and assert more and open up more and be less scared, you know, of letting other people in. So I think altogether it was good. And I felt good about it, and she felt good about it too. And
well, we're not here to do therapy on people. You know, it's a more of an educational process, and they will heal in their own time whatever they need to heal. But it sounds like what you did helped her quite a bit.
So, and it was just, let's be honest, let's face it, we just met 7 times, right? So it's not nothing like long-term psychoanalysis or nothing like long-term thing. But I could see changes, literally. I could see changes in her. And she commented, yes, I feel better at work. I feel better communicating to my colleagues. I feel kind of looser, right? I have better relationships with my husband. So it's all kind of this little shift. And then the key thing, she came, I want to draw again. I want to connect with my creative part again. And she started drawing again. And that's
I think that balancing the hemispheres was, you know, really important for her, you know, to get both hemispheres working together again and not being so much wrapped up in the left, hypercritical. You know, you get that you know, overthinking on the left side, and it blocks what's happening on the right. And you know, you've got a nice balance between the two of them, and then you brought out the alpha again. And for an artist, that's extremely important to, you know, develop that.
Yeah, no, she was great. I can only say, for a person like her, you know, she was a rare one who easily could show stable alpha and sustain it for a long time and learn to go deeper, because like my main comment throughout the last meditations was same again and again and again. Awakened mind pattern, stable, opening up the bottom, half evolved mind. So it's like drifting in a way between awakened mind and evolved mind patterns, which means she's quite stable with alpha, and she's capable of going deeper. She's not losing it. She's not afraid of it. She's doing it again and again and again. And that was kind of indication, okay, we're on the right path. And all the statistics, I mean, however, these are numbers, they're still relative, but the kind of the dynamics, they show you the indication where you are moving, what's happening.
Oksana, I think you clearly showed change. I think if anything, she has issues with boundaries. I mean, that's what you showed. It was really boundaries between herself and the outer world, and herself and others, and feeling the safety to explore those boundaries and create those boundaries when she needed to. But the fact that she overshifted to the right would still suggest that there are issues about balance and boundaries, but you made unbelievable, tremendous progress with the 7 sessions. Now, I had a couple of questions about those sessions. It looked like it was 1 session per month. Is that how it went?
No. We normally met once a week, but we had a couple of longer breaks because she had to go on vacation and somewhere else. So it wasn't quite, like finished in 2.5 months, if we strictly speak of like 7 weeks, or even 2 months. 2 months.
Okay, the last session was in October and the first one was in March. Is that, did I read it right?
I can go back and
well, that's okay. I'm just trying to get an idea over time. So she was very compliant in between her sessions, doing practice and work herself, correct?
Yes. So I can tell you, review period, it's in my records again. So it says we started on 20th of November 2014.
Oh, okay.
And then we ended on 10th of February 2015.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw March someplace there. Okay.
I can go back, and here you can see the period. Do you see it?
Oh, yes. Okay. Well,
so we started first meeting on the 20th of November. And
it's the way you're writing dates. Okay.
That's different from American, yes. Then
I know it's very confusing for us to look at these things backwards. Or backwards to us anyway.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Let me ask you, how long was each individual session?
It lasted about 2.5 hours. I mean, first longer sessions were like about 3 hours even, so.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was really curious about. So they were maybe 3 hours the first session and maybe the second, but then they were like 2 or 2.5. So these are long sessions. They're not a typical 50 to 60 minute session. Okay, got it.
No, she had to travel from, another place, so it took her maybe an hour to get to my place, or even longer. So I had to make it this way just for convenience for both of us, because otherwise it's like, too costly to come just for 40 minutes, drive an hour or so.
I realize, but this gets to logistics and how, how easy this is to translate and to disseminate across large numbers of people. So, they're very highly focused individual sessions, and they do take 2 to 3 hours. You can do a lot in that time period with somebody, and it will stay with them much more than you can do in 40 to 60 minute sessions, which are real quick. Bye, see you next time, even if you give an action plan. So you're really dealing with very concentrated sessions here, and that does make it worthwhile, but it also tends to reinforce a lot of the work that you do right there, and it carries over. So that's what I was trying to understand.
Your work is brilliant. You're definitely a full-fledged Awakened Mind trainer now. There's no doubt about that.
Thank you.
Oksana, it is beautiful work, and I just wanted to ask you, do you record your sessions because your notes are so detailed? It's almost as though you're transcribing sessions. So do you make recordings so that you'll remember everything so you can transcribe them into notes, or are you doing this after the session, or are you, doing a shorthand during the session?
No, I do drawings, and I shared like roughly to give you an idea how they look like. So mainly because Mind Mirror allows now to do the session recording and replay it after. What my point is like the key point in drawing is, say, we are doing this alpha sensualization, and I say keyword jet taking off, and in my notes it will be like jet and an arrow pointing up and the time. You understand?
Okay.
So it will be just shortcut.
Actually quoting. Yes, no, but you're actually quoting from your subject.
No. Whenever she gives me feedback, I have to write it down.
Right. Okay.
So I don't type it. I quickly write it down, but then I have to, spend more time just deciphering my own handwriting straight after the session and put it in a nice format.
It's amazing how much you're able to remember and put down. I mean, your notes are incredible. The detail and how you have it matched as closely as possible in time and space with what's going on. So they're really elegant.
I mean, all the other, comments and observations, like general comments, of course, I do them after, in the end. I may check quickly the average mind mirror pattern with my client in the end to see if there was any significant change, and we saw that, with our disbalance shifting and. But then general comments, of course, after watching the session again, I could say, yes, that's what was happening. It's in my drawings, it's in the session, and yes, it kind of correlates with her experiences as well.
You should really think about writing these up as a case series, because I think you really have enough there to make a beautiful case series and really submit that to a journal. So think about it, because it's really elegant work. And you have such detail there that it really makes it a valuable case series, and especially for, emphasizing the power of the mind mirror. So definitely, and if you've got like 5 cases, you have a nice series there. So again, it's really marvelous work. But those are some of the details you'll need to include: how long the sessions are, what the difference was in terms of session from session, what the interval between them, those sort of things. But really elegant work.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you for all your kind words. I'll think about how we can organize it, maybe in a nice article, or that may help Mind Mirror, may help me, may help other people.
Absolutely. No, for sure. Okay. And again, thank you so much for both of these sessions. They were just wonderful. And I hope you'll share with us the templates, because they very, very helpful. And also the links. If you have the links for the MPL, the neuro-linguistic NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, those two, they were great that you have on cards, the words versus the colors.
Yeah. They are, the links are inside the presentation. I'll put the presentation up. Inside the presentation, there will be links. So you just click and you'll be taken there. So
because the links did not show up when you were actually presenting your material.
That's strange. They were in very, very small fonts in the bottom of the slides. So.
Well, we didn't see the bottom of the slides necessarily.
I can take them. I could take them. And place them separately, no problem, under the presentation.
Whatever is easiest. Wonderful.
They were there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Deborah.